Hi everybody, it's Jessica, the Dollhouse Curator, and welcome back to the Curated Dollhouse. We went to Canton at the beginning of the month, and now, of course, it is time to go through and take all of these amazing items that I found at that flea market and turn them into part of the curated collection. I hope you enjoy this behind the scenes. As you can see, we have quite a few items that we need to go through to get ready to add to our collection. So this is a little bit more of behind the scenes stuff that I do in my curated dollhouse. We got all of these items from our local Canton flea market. I love going to that flea market. If you haven't seen my kind of haul video that I've done on this, please check it out. But once we have a haul this big, we have a lot of clothes, we have a lot of dolls that need TLC, and there's a lot of stuff that goes with this. So I figure I will take you all behind the scenes with me as I prep these dolls to go into the curated collection. Okay, now that we have the dolls undressed, now I have pulled me out a little spare box. So I'm gonna put all of these clothes that we have so far into the box. I'm not separating anything. I just want everything to be together right now. And then we'll go through, wash stuff up. But now it is time to make decisions on what dolls are staying in the dollhouse and what dolls will be cleaned up and donated for someone else's collection. I like this part. It's fun going through and figuring out what I'm going to keep and what I'm going to donate. Again, I buy dolls for different reasons. So definitely Miss Daisy is staying, whereas Miss Teresa may get donated. There is a reason why Miss Teresa may get donated, and I'm very happy about that. But that is not for this video. That is for another video. So let's go through, decide what stays, what goes, and we will be using our trusty hack for taking off heads to make this super easy to add them to my collection. And yeah, I think that's it. Let's get started. I have all of the dolls lined up, and we're going to go through and we're going to decide whether they stay in the collection or if they don't. If they stay in the collection, we will leave them up here. If they don't, I will move them off to the side and put them on the floor. That is just the easiest way to go through things now. So to start, we're starting with this one. She is staying. I like her face. I actually think I got one other of her when I was out. Yes, I did. So I have two of these. These will both be staying in the collection. Miss kind of Teresa here with the 5 head and the long braids. She will be a cleanup and donate to someone else, along with this basic Millie. I already have nicer Millies. So these are going. Of course, my blonde Daisy is staying, most definitely. I was so glad to find her out in the wild. She matches my pink-haired Daisy beautifully for the idea that I want, so I'm keeping her. This Teresa we will clean up, and I will make a decision on afterwards. There is a reason for that. I think it will be nice for the idea that I have, but it depends on how her hair cleans up, on what we're going to do with her. So the maybes we put over there. Miss Christie is definitely staying. We're getting rid of her body. This lady is staying, getting rid of her body. This lady, unfortunately, will not make the cut. She will be a cleanup and donate. This is a brunette Barbie with green eyes, but I also have that holiday Barbie that is still in box in a little bit better condition, who is a brunette Barbie with green eyes also. This is another maybe. It depends on how well her hair comes out. I've recently been gifted with something, which is another reason why Teresa is a maybe. And I think I may be able to use this for something else, but it depends on how well her hair does. So she goes to the maybe pile. Kelly is a definite. And for Miss Kelly right now, I'm going to try to clean her up and fix her up without removing her from her original body. If I cannot, then we will definitely rebody her. And if I can't get her cleaned up great, she will still stay in the collection. We will just make it work with some hats or some scarves like we do with our original Kira. This is a no. Just the body in general and the face, no. She will stay for now. I will have to see how her hair turns out. I have another one of this face, and this hair seems to have the same issue. It is sticky from like glue seepage. So if I cannot get her to look any better, she won't be staying in the collection, but I will donate her. She will be a cleanup and donate, and I will also be stripping her of this beautiful necklace and her earrings. The doll is pretty, but I don't do a side-eye doll. So, well, if a side-eye doll is fabulous, I will. She is not at the level of fabulous for me to keep. So she is a cleanup and donate. Of course, we are keeping Dimples. I have an idea that I could possibly use this doll for. We are definitely keeping Miss Psycho right here. It is something about that little itty bit of Psycho in her face that I love, and I want to see her clean up, and I think this will be gorgeous. Kira is definitely staying. I'm hoping I can get her hair to work better than my Kira. I still say this is the same one that I already have in the collection. Seems like I can see some stitched in ponytails back here, but her face is definitely staying. And that's it. Anything that I've already bought as heads, we're going to be doing a good cleanup on. These are definitely staying. I will be very mindful of working with these two because they have flocking. I don't want to wash the flocking off, so these will be a very delicate fix-up. And then we will be working with this lady. This is the Little Debbie Barbie. Again, a brunette Barbie, beautiful blue eyes, and the hint of the dimple. She is becoming a special, so we will have a whole episode on her after we get her cleaned up for a rebody and restyle, because I love this. And we have our Kellys separated. I will be washing them up also. Majority of these Kellys will be staying in the collection for now, definitely. And for the other clothes, I'm going to be honest. For the other clothes, we will be doing some hand washing on most of this stuff. If I am very worried about it running or staining, such as this beautiful kind of red velvety feeling Kelly dress, I will probably take a lot of care, maybe wash it with a toothbrush so that I don't get red dye on the white fur part. But this is basically what we do. Next, I'm going to go through and open up the ones that we have that are in box and do the same thing. But these ladies, before I get to that, we are going to be taking off heads on these ladies, and I will show you how I do that using my box cutter and my simple, easy method. I have two ways that I remove doll heads. I have my go-to way, which is where I use a box cutter, and I split the back of the doll's head. Usually right in between the hairline and the date, I cut right halfway up over the date, and then I try to cut deep enough to where you can cut that secondary plastic that is going to kind of hold the neck peg in, and then I remove the doll's head that way. Usually it comes off pretty good. I usually do not have a problem, as you can see with that one. Of course, the camera wasn't the greatest angle, but usually I don't have a problem. And the other way is I push the doll's head way down on the neck, let it sit there for about a good 30 seconds, and then I'm able to pull the head off and remove the head with no problem. Both of these ways that I do can have some issues. I have found sometimes that if I push the doll's head down, if the head is too hard of plastic, it doesn't easily slide off and it can at some point break the neck peg, which I do with one of these dolls. And I've also noticed that sometimes when I cut the back of the neck, if the doll has harder plastic, it can break the neck peg as well. So you remove doll heads at your risk all the time. But for me and my collection, I have found that cutting the back of the neck with a box cutter is the easiest way for me to get the heads out and to get them switched up so that they are ready for me to use in my collection. I will also give a real true word of caution. I do not recommend you do the curator cut the back of the neck if you are looking to keep your doll in pristine condition. I am looking to add these dolls to my collection, not keep them in pristine condition. And as you can see, even though I did cut the back of the neck, I still broke that neck peg. It just sometimes depends on the plastic that was used on the doll and the level of effort that I put into it, how hard the head is. So we always run a risk of breaking our dolls, but this is something that is near and dear to my heart. I have been doing it for years. It makes for the easiest head swaps for me. And in all of my years of doing this, I have only had one doll that the cut on the back of the neck was a problem. After I do a good washing on all of the heads, I go through and I start combing hair, and I use my Dawn dish soap to comb hair, and then I let it sit for a little bit. Don't ask me why. I have just found that works really well in my dollhouse. Once I let it sit, I go through and spray everybody down, clean them up, and then we get them ready to start drying off. All of the dolls have been washed. I have them laying out to dry. And now we do a much closer inspection after they are clean. So as you can see, Miss Kelly has some damage on her nose, her lip, and her chin. That is something we're going to have to work to fix, as well as her hair. I got it to do okay, but not great. The rooting pattern in this doll is not good at all. So there's going to be quite a few things to work with for this doll. Miss Kayla. Miss Kayla had some dirt spots on her, but they came off really, really well. Her hair combed out pretty good. This is just after washing, so I haven't actually done any additional like conditioning or shampoos. And the last one right here, little Miss Debbie. This one is adorable. I will see once her hair is dry if we go back to that beautiful kind of Farrah Fawcett feather that I'm expecting. And if so, I'm going to be so glad. This doll will definitely hear, not probably as part of this video, or I may do it as part of this video, but she will get the shampoo and conditioning treatment because we will be doing, I'm making her a special, and she will get a new body and a restyle and all of that fun stuff. Whereas the other dolls, once they are dry, I'm going to comb out their hair really good one more time, and then they will go onto the sewing peg holders, on my head display is what I call it, until it is time for me to actually use them. Well, except Miss Daisy here. Miss Daisy and Miss Debbie will get the shampoo and all of that because I am already ready to use them. And for my curly haired ladies, it can get a bit tedious depending on the type of hair. Like for Miss Lori Hernandez here, her hair was done, pulled up with curls. Sometimes it is hard to get curly hair like that to lay back down. And this lady has a lot of curly hair, so a good conditioning and comb through on this will probably tame it a little more. But again, I won't be doing that until I am ready to use her. And that helps me keep all of my little effort down because these two will get the full treatment. The rest of them will dry, get a comb out, and then get put up for display until I'm ready to use them. Now that we have washed all the dolls that needed TLC and are waiting on them to dry so we can continue on with the rest of the process, now it's time to get into the dolls that we got that are in box. So, for those of you who may not know, I am not an inbox collector, so all of these items will be coming out of the box. If they are absolutely adorable, like this holiday Barbie, I probably will not undress them at this point. I will just probably put them up for display on my little display wall over here. And for the other things that I really am excited for, like this, I will probably leave her in this little fashion to go with my holiday Halloween idea. But the other ones we're going to go ahead and get open so we can start adding them to the collection. So after a good Canton haul, one of the things that is a very favorite thing of mine and a not so favorite thing for me to do with my collection is having to unbox the newer stuff that I bought. One of the main issues you run into when you are unboxing the different dolls is depending on the time frame, depends on the level of struggle you are going to have in getting a doll out of a box. If we're talking about early to mid 80s, you're maybe a twist tie or two, and then bam, pull the doll out, they're out of the box. When you get into the 2000s, there are 17 different little bungee T-ties around the neck, the throat, the arms, in the hair. You got T-ties giving the dolls migraines. It gets so tedious. One of my favorites in this unboxing actually is the holiday doll that you will see here in a little bit. There were some simplicity and a little bit of complication to getting her box open. The box itself was beautiful the way she was displayed, and most of the things holding her in was just thread. So easy to unbox. One of the other issues you get when you have older dolls that you are unboxing is that the plastic that has been straps or sometimes ties or rubber bands on the doll, they have disintegrated. For me, that's okay. Usually what I do to correct that, number one, if it's an old school body, I'm getting rid of that body. But like with rubber bands and stuff, again, we do the hair washing and a good cleanup, so we get to get all of that out of the way. I will say every single time that I had to undo one of those twist ties for one of those older Barbie dolls, it just reminded me of Barbie the movie when they're trying to put her back in the package, and it is just that slow twist before she goes off running to get out of that corporate Mattel building. It cracks me up every single time, but that is what I remember as a child. Getting my Barbie doll, opening that box, pulling out the sleeve that the doll is attached to, flipping it over 4 or 5 little twist ties, and your doll is free and ready for hours and hours of play. That is what I loved. So even though unboxing new dolls can be tedious, I still love it because that is letting me know what we can add to our collection, and I get to enjoy it at a full different level. This holiday doll was absolutely beautiful, but again, suffered from the exact same issue as the Fun to Dress Barbie that we opened up earlier, to where the straps had started to disintegrate. But it's something that you have to deal with trying to collect older Barbies. Some of the materials they used back in the day just do not hold up well over time, and we figure out how to work with it. But I absolutely love that dress, and I'm so happy to be adding a brunette Barbie face with green eyes to my collection. She was a great find and a great deal for sure. One of the other things that I love about the holiday dolls and the Barbie dolls that come in the big, huge, extravagant dresses is that they always had some kind of paper or something in the box underneath the clothes to keep that dress, keeping its beautiful form. You were going to get a pair of shoes that went with it, a stand, and 9 times out of 10, if it was an older Barbie from like the 80s or the 90s, you were going to get a limited warranty. Do y'all remember that little limited warranty slip of paper? They don't give them out no more. They know these dolls now are not at the quality that they used to give us, so they just slid that right out. They slipped that out as smooth as they changed Jake from State Farm during the Super Bowl one year. Yeah. Next, I'm getting into my G.I. Joe, the Tuskegee Airman. I knew I was not going to be keeping him in box, but I did decide to keep his boxes. It had some really fun information on there. But, ooh, y'all, when I saw the back of his little frame here, his little slip, Do you see that? Yeah. You see, I had to cut all of that out. You all, I was not about to go through doing all of that. It took forever unnecessarily to get that doll out of the box. And the very last thing that we are unboxing is this amazing G.I. Joe Fast Attack Cycle. I was so happy to see it in Canton again. I grabbed it. I didn't even haggle about the price, although I did get a $5 discount because the gentleman was ready to get rid of it. But I didn't even haggle on the price because I knew I wanted to add that to my collection because I had passed on it last year when it was a really good deal because I was being too cheap. And since I had my entire Canton budget to spend this year, because this was the first time that I had not been to Canton with my kids and it was just me and hubby, I was like, you know what, we're going for it. Usually I am in mom mode and kind of, I buy easy because I know the kids are going to want extra stuff and lemonade and their corn dogs and everything else that is wonderful there because I do go to Canton for the fair food also. But this time I definitely got that and I am so excited. It is a perfect fit for my Leto doll. An absolute perfect fit. I love everything about it. And if you don't have one of these in your collection, either the Harley Davidson motorcycle done by Mattel or this G.I. Joe motorcycle done by Hasbro, you got to get it. You have to have at least one.